So something that I felt was my irritation that irritated me about a kid. You know, I don't know, whatever it would, like leaving the bathroom like a tornado had gone through it and expecting me to put my foot in there and start washing, like after I didn't clean up the bathroom, and now you've got an amazing spa to walk into, and yet I'm still getting tornado public toilet vibes. Don't play your mother. It was that. It was like, that's how I felt. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You sprinkle a little bit of pregnancy hormones on that. Way in the guilt bag. Hello again, dear sweet souls. We are back for another episode of Awaken to Joy. Now, last time we left the conversation off by talking about the map of consciousness and its relation to manifesting. So that's where we are gonna plunge in now. So last time we were actually discussing the survival paradigms of the map of consciousness. Now, I'm going to do the same exercise as last time. So I'm going to read you out these 8 feelings, and on a scale of 1 to 8, 8 being like the highest, like good, so to speak, and 1 being bad in simple terms, or you know, the one that could serve you the most and the one that would serve you the least. All right, here we go. Anger, desire, fear, guilt, apathy, grief, shame, and pride. You can pause it, but where would you put those? Where would you think they go as far as what serves you and what doesn't serve you? And it was looking at that list that kind of had me thinking, wow. Oh, gosh, I got some things to rearrange. I got some rearranging to do. I got some rearranging to do because I'm responsible. And I mean responsible not as in I'm responsible as in duty. Responsible as in I'm able to respond. It is within my ability to respond to this, and I will do so. So, be that as it may, I am going to give you again the actual the actual order of this in terms of frequency, from the lowest frequency to the higher frequency, which I would also say to the one that least serves you to the one that can serve you more, out of the 8. All right, so here we go. Coming in at the lowest of the low, I would say shame, then guilt, apathy, grief, fear, desire, anger, and then pride. All right. Do you want to kick off? Because I got a whole bunch to say about this. Because this threw me for a loop. Not that I felt that all of those things would serve me. I just never saw them as something that was keeping me in a lower frequency as far as not serving me.
Well, one thing comes to mind. It's funny. Is the fact that what is this map of consciousness for, and how do you use it? So basically now you've got another tool, and how do you read it, and what is it for? What? Because okay, yes, all experience these feelings
Yeah.
at times.
Yeah.
Now, what do you do with it? That's what I would say. I would say, like, let's see what's the most practical way to go about this.
And what would you say?
What would say? What would you need to know the map of consciousness in the first place? Do you feel someone's already conscious? Are you already? We all have a consciousness. I mean, if we are listening to this podcast, and if you give at least more than 5 minutes of your attention, I think we can all agree that you have an idea of what a consciousness is.
Or have awoken at some point.
Or have awoken at some point.
You're experiencing your awakening. You want to experience an awakening, or you've experienced it and you're already on that journey.
Yeah, so there's like something that draws you to the idea. So now that we established the fact that, okay, you know what a consciousness somewhat is, why do you need a map of it? And is it all of these things happening in your mind? What's the difference between your mind and your consciousness? What's the relation between your mind and your consciousness for even this to matter in the first place?
For me, I would say that for a long time, the mind has been misunderstood as a tool, or misused as a tool. And I would say consciousness is something that is between the two, between heart and mind. It's like an awareness.
So you describe it as
which would be a link between the two, a link between the heart and the mind.
Okay.
The mind being the place where desires are made, the heart being the place where the desires are made, and the mind being where the understanding or the understanding of perception is decided. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So depending on what it's like, okay. The kids the other day, they started screaming. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Now, my desire is that they have a good time. Yeah?
Yeah.
But if my desire was that I needed some peace and quiet, it would change my perception of the screaming. The screaming hasn't changed. My perception has. And my mind will let me know what belief I hold to tell me whether or not my desires are being met.
So you seem to describe the mind as an oracle. So basically this is what allows you to tap in to certain frequency. Hence why
I think it's what allows me, I'm trying to say this in what I see my mind as.
Okay.
Not science-based, okay? Bun science, okay?
Right,
I'm just trying to give it on a practical, day-to-day level.
I totally get what you're saying, and as far as I'm concerned.
What is it registering as? It's like the registration book. It's like, that was this, that was that. And it's based on, my set of beliefs.
Okay, so it's more like an archive place.
Yeah.
Where you archive sets of
beliefs. An archive of beliefs and judgments and things
and
that
feelings
have come
experienced.
And experienced feelings.
Okay, that's a fair description. Because
not that I believe that all of my feelings about the things that I've experienced are stored in my mind. I think some of them are stored in my body. However, that's another conversation.
Could it be when the mind is too full somewhat, is just sent it somewhere else?
I think that we give the mind more credit than it's worth.
Okay.
And I think, like you said, it's a misused tool.
Yeah.
So you're using it. It's like using a USB to put all of your movies on. You need a hard drive, like a big. You need a bigger hard drive.
Yeah.
And I know they say the mind is vast, but I think consciousness in itself is, and I think a mind is the way that science has tried to quantify it when it in and of itself is infinite.
Oh, do you know the reason why? Because when you asked me the question in the first place, like if I wanted to start, talking about it or whatnot, I was like, the only way this could make sense if I explain what my perception of this is, if I can as clear as possible, explain what this whole construct is. Mind, then you got the ego, then you got your consciousness, then you got your soul.
Yeah.
All the relation between all of this, and then you have, I guess, your avatar here, which is your body, and it's all linked.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a good explanation you gave when you say sort of like storage place for different experiences you've had. And then due to some belief that
I think
you
like
hold.
you had it as well, a registration as well.
Yeah.
Because whether or not something's registered as good or bad, sometimes the mind will step in and send like the ego to be like, we need you here because we don't like that. Remember, we don't like that.
Yeah.
But it always, if people really just step back, it's a feeling first.
It is.
It's a feeling first. It's like before you got angry, what happened in your heart space?
I believe.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
What happened in your heart space? What happened in your body? Did you tense up somewhere?
Well, check this out
There was
now.
a remembrance in your...
Check this out for a minute. Because you've gone on that way about it, which, I love computers and stuff like that, which is...
You are very skeptical. You are somebody who's very technical minded. You're somebody who is very science based. So that's probably why you would ask like, okay, yeah, but what's the point of it?
Though I'm also have a big spiritual side, but that's for another episode. We'll talk about science and the spiritual side and all of this.
Which
I
would be
can
good.
cohabit together. But yeah, what I was saying is, you say like more storage. I felt like it was like an operating system.
Yeah.
And I felt like depending on how updated your operating system, and the update is obviously the set of belief you along the way change, and you update it, innit? You like, I no longer believe this, therefore my operating system's got to be updated. Sometimes your belief change, but the operating system hasn't changed. There hasn't been the translation is how to get the mind to update. And that's where usually when there's blockage in some sort, so you're in contradiction with a lot of things until you realize, I've got to allow the mind to release certain things because it's still holding all of that.
I found myself, I know what you're saying. I know how you're explaining this. I get that, yeah.
The consciousness will be the coding, the zero and the ones that creates it all. That without this, all of this wouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
And this is constant. So your consciousness, the reason why you would type in with your consciousness with the right coding, so to speak, it's because it doesn't change. It's a series of 011, 011, whatever the requesting coding is for that particular things you want to acquire. And then I think what the mind does when it doesn't work properly, it uses the wrong codes for the outcome. These avatar here we are once, and you never get what you want, and you get more upset because you keep on tapping in the same code, and there's no updating of any sort.
If we
and to link it to the map, the reason why the map is, and I see it when you brought up the map,
like
which
why,
is genius.
Why you
This
use
is your
the
hack.
tool.
This is your coding. This is how you're gonna tap in these codes.
That's how I looked at
these
it.
Emotional codes.
I was like, hang on a minute.
This is the emotional.
So you mean to tell me if I want to keep my frequency higher, I literally just have to tap into the spiritual paradigm, or at very least, which is why Bashar believes in staying neutral. Like if you can't be one or the other, beg you just do neutral.
Yeah. I see why.
Because then at least you're halfway up the list.
Yeah.
You're halfway up the list.
Yeah.
And from a neutral standpoint, then you can have more of a clearer perception on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
Because I think, so then now you've got this map,
It's a map.
For me,
It tells, I was like, well, it
Yeah.
tells you kind of.
yeah, it's like cheat codes, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it gave me perspective on, okay, well, this emotion there only give this. This is the outcome. Not only my mind can align, I can change certain way I see things, and then I can allow the mind to update itself so it doesn't feel left behind. It feels it's right on par to the way I feel.
Yeah.
Then that gets me more connected with my consciousness, and in terms I can manifest in an easier way. Hence why I've realized it's late, working so hard is not the one, because I was like, that's a big BS that we believe, and
It's
I have
another
to change
belief,
your all
yeah.
sets of belief, which I'm still updating at the moment, if you will.
Buffering.
Buffering. That's a good one. Love it.
Yeah.
But that's the only way I can explain it. And now, how would I use that?
This is how, when I saw it.
Or not use it?
Or not use it. Throw it in the bin if you don't like it. Honestly.
Yeah, or some of these things.
If you're interested, go for it. If you're not, throw it away. By all means. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not every tool is going to work. It's like another tool, tarot. Another tool, numerology. Another tool. Like, there's so many tools here for us to just have fun with this game called life.
Yeah.
Don't take them seriously. Just use them if you're interested, and if you're not interested, don't use them. It's not that complicated. Like, we haven't got to spend much time on it.
And also,
If you're not interested, you're not interested. Move on. Like,
you
ain't got to write a blog about why
Exactly.
you're not interested. Just don't. Just go and live your life doing what you're interested in.
And also, I would say, because I forgot to mention the ego, and to me, the ego is the drivers. These are the drivers that
You've
you
got a whole metaphor. Go on.
constantly have to update. And one day I said, boy, nothing work. Nothing got tripping. Or you install the wrong driver and you say, why doesn't it work?
Yeah.
And it's like, because you got the wrong driver, mate.
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh.
And that's when you didn't want to smash the computer.
Yeah. And then it's tempted as well, often tempted by different things. Like, do you want us to do an automatic update? And you're like, nah, I'll do it myself, because I don't need you to install a bunch of stuff.
Yourself and then giving me some apps I didn't ask for that keep on
So it's
asking
like
me to give them a
drivers forward slash
subscription
apps, and or my apps used to work fine and now it's not working. Whose fault is it? And it's like, well, the driver is not being installed. Who, me? Me? I haven't want me? And it's like a lot of blame, a lot of, back and forth, and so I would say, and you got to deal with all of them so everyone's happy.
Gosh.
Including your avatar and your body. So it's like, so that's why blaming doesn't work. So if you take one of the first bottom...
It's not blame, it's shame.
Shame, sorry. Which then is strongly related, because why do you blame someone? Because you want, in a way, for them to feel bad about it.
You want them to take responsibility for it.
Then if you want them to take responsibility, would you blame them or explain to them something that they haven't understood clearly?
That would depend if you're angry.
Well, then you see what I mean. And
that's
so
my
like,
point. When I looked at this,
that was a good one.
I literally looked.
Because I was like, yeah. Wow.
When I looked at this map, I said, all right, I'm a new mother now, okay?
I don't know where you're going with this.
Okay, fine. I'm going to keep it 100, okay? How many people here, mothers or fathers, parents of any sort, guardians, have had the experience of doing or have had that been done to them, which is the use of guilt to parent?
Yeah.
Dare I say, or the use of shame to punish. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should know better.
All right, let's talk about this, because some people will swear down they never did. Some people will swear
and that's
down.
cool, boo.
Well, no, but they might be right. They maybe never did, but some people might swear down they did, and it's a good things. The question is that it's all about what's the outcome you like to experience and see. And once that happened, are you in alignment totally with what the outcome of this is? Do you feel like you're repeating yourself to the same set things you try to make someone feel guilty of? And if the answer is yes, I feel I'm constantly repeating myself, and it obviously didn't work enough, because otherwise you would have had satisfaction, wouldn't you? So all of this come down to the outcome of it.
I think a lot of the time, as a parent, more than anything, you want control. Now, you can pick that apart, and I know some people are probably going to feel like, no, I don't want control. I want happiness. I want love. Yeah. On the surface, I'm talking about what your actions are requiring, not what your deepest, darkest feelings are requiring, because your actions obviously don't always align with your deepest, darkest feelings. Like, you know what, above all, on a if I die tomorrow basis, I just want my child to be happy, but we're not always in that space. 9 times out of 10, you are doing the putting out fire situation. This one needs to stop pissing the bed. This one needs to stop shitting. This one needs to stop ripping down the wallpaper. This one needs to make sure they get their grades up. That one needs to stop picking their nose. It's bleeding now. It's one of those ones.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever the list is, kid shenanigans, okay, that you're just trying to manage. It's like, it's that. On top of it, moments of enjoyment. And that's my point. And then I looked at the list and I said, what is it that I actually love about parenting? What is it that I love about being a parent? And I would say it's the joy of it. Like, when we are all in flow as a family, it's a good time.
Do you know?
It's jokes out here.
But you've just talked about a situation that I'm sure a lot of parents are going through, which is trying to get all this madness to somewhat stop, you know, when you feel you're in the midst of some things and one of the kids, you know, is still not doing what you felt they need to be done. They need to be out. I mean, you feel like, oh, you know, they should be at this level, this, you know, they shouldn't be doing this anymore, whatever, and you somehow don't get through to them.
Yeah.
What it is that you get into that loop now where you do more of the same and you get more of the same outcome. And most of the time it's what happened, yeah?
Yeah.
Until something changed dramatically, whatever that is. It doesn't have to come from you, or the kid in itself experience some things and it's just all of a sudden stop, you know, doing whatever you felt, whatever the situation can be. But what I'm saying is that now you use all different modality, I would say, like, you know, guilt, you know, etc., and, you know, trying to make them feel shameful, some behaviors sometimes, stuff like that. And you were saying that is when you're trying to control.
Even back in the day, what did they used to do? Class dance. They sit you in the corner, they put a dance hat on you. Yeah,
that's true. And but then the desire to control, it is simply misaligned with what the outcomes they feel they need to have, because the outcome, the only reason they feel like this, so a lot of times sometimes they feel shameful because maybe their children still wear a nappy and they're 5 years old, and then they feel like, wow, I feel shame about that, because they already equated that is they're a bad parent somewhat,
and there it is.
But
and
if
you stay in that loop,
so it's that belief change, which means that you don't believe that to be true, then all of these don't become a problem anymore.
Well, this is the thing. This is how I used this as a tool for me personally, and
right.
The reason why it came up is because I think I manifested it, and it just came on my timeline, and I was just like, this is perfect. Now I can kind of just tune my way through this parenting, and it came when I was pregnant. Yeah. So I was pregnant with the 4th, and I couldn't quite parent in the way that I was used to as far as running up and down is concerned. Like, I was mostly bedbound. Like, I had to rest.
Yeah.
And I was at a place where it was just like finding it hard. My masculine energy wanted to get up and do, okay? Do. All the time. Everything that I was doing before, and why not? And I got to do this. And my feminine was like, sit your ass down and chill.
You know, it's funny because all of these emotions we're going through and stuff like that as a parent, or sometimes it could be about work or anything else, you belief system just set you in that, on that timeline, on that course for these things to unfold that way, and the way in which you don't want it to.
Yeah.
Because how seriously you take it. And one thing is, as a parent, I would say that is very telling, is when you can look back 5 years later on down the line and you can make joke about some things that was so serious for you at the time. And most love events you would hear parents talking, oh, when you were, that age, you were doing all of this, and they're laughing about it. So if you're able to laugh about the same situation 5 years on, maybe it's not that serious.
No,
and maybe
it's your perception at the time. And people say it's too soon. It's too soon for what? It's too soon for what? I need this sorted already. So this it's too soon thing, I just said I no longer believe in the fact that it's too soon. Let's just do this. What happens if I just do it? So something that I felt was my irritation, that irritated me about a kid. I don't know, whatever it would, like leaving the bathroom like a tornado had gone through it and expecting me to put my foot in there and start washing, like after I didn't clean up the bathroom, and now you've got an amazing spa to walk into, and yet I'm still getting tornado public toilet vibes. Don't play your mother. It was that. It was like, that's how I felt. Okay. You sprinkle a little bit of pregnancy hormones on that. Way in the guilt bag. Okay.
Yeah, that can.
Who did this? And I'm thinking in my mind.
Yeah.
So one morning I come down again and again, same old. Bathroom, I literally left it spanking, brand new, shining. I'm talking taps looking like they were brand new. And I come down and it looks like we had a flood. And people's garments were left behind in the flood. It was some random electronics and some kid paraphernalia, and I just felt like, and then I just had this little twitch like, okay, I'm about to pop off. The hands start going. Boom, boom. I start getting in my feelings again.
Yeah.
Hold in mind, it's 7:00 in the morning. They wake up in half an hour, and I could have a quiet half hour to myself. My mind had already gone to anger, and I felt that they needed to be shamed in that moment for putting me through that experience, and then guilted because I was pregnant. Hear this? Yeah? So that's already... So when I'm looking at this list, the first thing I saw, and I was like, ooh. And then I thought, doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. This was it. Apathy. Oh, okay. You didn't reach too high, Shem. And then I thought, okay, just go to anger. That's better than nothing. This is my mind. This is what you get, a little bit of insight in the window. No, just, well, that's
don't forget,
fair,
I see it unfolding sometimes. I see the whole,
you see
escalation, and I'm like, ooh, someone's about to get it.
And then I'm like, okay, well, what would I like? Oh, I'll tell you what I'd really like. I like someone to come in here and clean this all up. This is my... And then I'm like, all right, just go to anger. It's okay to scream. And I'm like, hang on a minute. And then another part of me was like, okay. Or if this is going to be funny in a couple of months, like you keep on telling yourself, is it too soon to just enjoy the half hour that you have? So you take 5 minutes to clean their stuff up. Is it not worth the 25 minutes of like spa time you get without having anybody rattling off, wipe my bum, I need to poo, I wet this, I ruined this, I broke that. And I thought, oh, okay, so if it's a choice, maybe I'll choose acceptance. Okay, how does that feel? Much better. Okay, well, what's it going to look like if I feel love? Do you love your kids? Yes, I do love my kids. I do dearly. All right. Do you love yourself? How much do you love yourself? Enough to give yourself 25 minutes of alone bathroom time? I was like, yes, I do actually. All of a sudden, I feel better. I'm just talking on the feelings.
Yeah.
Mind you, in the back, my ego is like, go wake their asses up, 7 o'clock, okay? Who cares they got school, okay? Get them to clean it, and oh well if you're tired. And I thought, petty. Don't do it. Don't do it, because then they're up. Now you're making toast. You still haven't washed. You see what I'm saying? I had to do the whole evaluation. This was for a bathroom stop, so you can imagine a day with them, right? And
Well,
then,
I'm thinking that you can only imagine if you scale up the importance of this issue. So that's just little things.
that's little things. Imagine I've scaled it up, what sea of emotions I've gone through. And then I said, okay, what would make me joyful in this moment? And I was like, the truth is you do like cleaning. You like a clean bathroom. You like how it feels after it's cleaned. It's not the fact that it's dirty, it's the fact that it's not still clean. So clean it. I put my gloves on, I put some music on. The music was nice. Within 2 songs, the whole thing was clean and cleared. I then decided to make myself a cup of tea. By the time my cup of tea it was scorching, by the time my cup of tea would be at the perfect temperature, I would have already jumped in the shower, did what I had to do, come out and had my tea, and still had 5 minutes to do what I had to do. All by saying, what would be the most joyful thing I can do right now
Yeah.
for myself? Not out of vengeance, not out of shaming the children, not out of any of it. And then I had to it took everything within me to not then wait until they woke up and they were like, morning, Mum. And I was like, morning. How? We're going to bring in the guilt again.
It's the ego.
And I thought, wow, I can't parent like this.
But you know what?
It's too much of an emotional roller coaster for me.
Well, that's, it's funny about the ego, and that's the part where you need to update your ego as far as what's the new, role
I had to sit my ego
play.
down and be like,
Because
yo, sis.
the ego, you know what, the way I update mine is like, usually tell him, you really hands-on, which is a good thing. Like, there's some things you're about to sort out, but you're not really good estimating the aftermath and what work would that be. If I followed my ego when I drive on the road, I'll be just like, when I'm right away. I'll be making so many collisions. But then you gotta come out of your car, you gotta take this paper, fill in the paper, like the form, long thing. let alone it's rainy. The ego don't care. Rain or shine, it's the same. You were right, he was wrong. It's on site. Let's go.
Yeah.
But you're never really good at, the aftermath. How do we deal with nope. That's because it's not his job. And most of the time is to, give him credit where credit's due. Yeah.
Yeah.
And trying to see if he can find a role that is more suitable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it just needs updating.
And that was all it was. It was like having to sit down a close friend and let them know that they can't organise. your wedding anymore. It's like,
Yeah.
how do I put this?
And they
I
won't
don't want to
even
hurt
be.
your feelings. I value our friendship, but
And you know, bridesmaid on top of that, because you know,
it was
it's
that.
just that.
That
Yeah.
was the type
Yeah.
of conversation I had to have with my ego. I had to tread carefully because it knows where the bodies are buried.
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
like, oh,
It was about to hit me on some loop,
Yeah.
like the "you ain't shit" loop, and I wasn't
yeah,
ready for
like,
that.
you
I
gone
don't
soft.
need it. You're soft.
Look at you.
You're soft. Look at you now. You never listened to your mother. You should have listened to your mother. Any little thing, because, you know, cool friend and all, trash talker.
Yeah, that's his gift. So
I was-
find him a job. Here you go, her. Find it a job. Not say it. Find it a job that's suitable, and that's what I come to realize.
That's what I said. So I was like, listen, I don't know what you're going to be at this wedding, but I know I want you there. But you are not a bridesmaid, and you are not the wedding planner anymore. I love you.
You've done so much. Why
You've
don't you
done
rest?
so much.
You deserve the rest.
Rest.
You deserve that rest. Man.
And then slowly but surely, choice after choice after choice, it just settled in with the fact that it doesn't need to be there. Chiming in for every single thing that I do.
Yeah, it's just need a vacation.
Just vacate, girl. Just have a hot girl summer somewhere and I'll see you when I see you, boo. Like, if a fire comes and I need to figure out whether I need to jump the window or try and make my way downstairs, you know what? I want you right there by my side. Okay, I want you right there.
Yeah,
but you see when it comes...
Who created the fire in the first place? Did you leave this candle on the... Be like, oh, no, it's not that. Why are we wasting our time now with this?
When it comes to other things, like parenting, I'm going to kind of have to kiss you goodbye on that one because, see, I got plans to live quite old and it doesn't involve you being there because the way that works is I might have to live with some people that, you know, I didn't raise, and I need them to actually feel like I'm more kind than
Do you know what it is? It's
than
only...
cruel. I need this. I need this to work out long term with my children. I'm not short-sighted when it comes to all of this. And it's not to say that you could try and be the most perfect parent that you want to be. It's not about perfection. It's just that when you know better, you do better. And that map kind of just put the torch on, like, look, you got some codes here.
Yeah.
You could turn your back on them, but I can't now. I've seen it now. I can't unsee it.
Yeah. You know, the ego, I would say that it's only... is most of the time scared, and the only reason why the ego acts up like that is because sets of belief that you hold still you haven't yet realized that you're holding them because you never profoundly look into it. But when these things happen, it's an opportunity by using some of that maps as well as far as a more helpful way to enter this code, like I was saying, and find a way in which it works just a little better. So, like,
if you
like,
can't
okay,
be joyful about
for
it,
my
try and be
situations, can I try to not judge the situation in the first place? Can I be neutral about it and see it for what it is? These are children. This is what they're doing expectedly because they are children. I am the guidance for now. So was it that I could probably eventually prevent it? So I stop feeling that way if there's any solutions. And if I can't prevent it somehow, because not always you can prevent things, how can I let go of the belief that this is my responsibility in the first place and the only reason it's happening is because of me? And that is practicing this emotions, that's what, for me, this map is. That's why you use, when you are confronted to this situation, you use some of these emotions that are higher than what you used to use, which is higher than survival mode. Because being constantly in a survival mode, it just don't feel good. Don't care what anybody's saying.
That's what it is. It's exhausting.
It's exhausting, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? Then I started looking at it from like a wider perspective. So that's something to do with home, right? Even for us, like, when have I used anger? Okay. What?
But you know, you've got this, the thing, even if you use anger, the good thing is once you start being aware, because it's also about awareness. Okay, I use anger, you realize, oh, it's not working. It's actually escalating and I'm getting even more angry. And I don't want to feel that way. You can, at this moment, now that you know, use another emotions.
Because
that's what you've done.
That's what
you were explaining.
It's like, okay, anger doesn't work. I have to use something else. But a lot of the time we'll say, all right, I'll use apathy.
But
I don't care.
However, though.
But then that's deeper.
But that is, do you know why that happens? It's because you haven't connected with your heart space at that present moment. You haven't asked you, how do I feel right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm angry, but how do I truly feel?
Why am I angry?
Why am I angry? And what do I want from these situations? What do I desire from what's going on here? What is it what's the outcome I would love? Is it loving all over? So I don't fall out with my children. I don't even fall out with myself when I feel like I'm betraying myself. And what's the outcome? When you communicate with the heart, only then you can start saying, okay, like I say, apathy wouldn't work because it's dismissive.
I don't care.
I don't want to be dismissive. That's not what I want.
And it's more delusional. And then you get upset because it's like saying you don't care, going in the other room, but still hearing the TV loud, playing from next door. It's like, it's just winding me up.
Yeah, it's apathy. You know what you've done when you use apathy. For me, that's what I've realized. You only put a muzzle on your ego.
Yeah.
He's like a dog.
It's still barking.
He's ready to bite. And at any time, if you see fit, you're about to click, let it free and go wild. And you know that's what you've done. You just say, nope, that's it. That's it, I've got enough. And then you just flip.
Especially if the person's response to you, to your apathy is anger.
Woo.
You're like, oh, I can meet you there. 3 o'clock on a Tuesday, I am there.
And it's like anything like set you off. So you know you haven't communicated with your heart. It's plain, nah. See this? You're like, you see that?
Yeah.
Nah. See, no one, and you start having these statements. Now, nobody should be doing this, or I shouldn't have this, or
I shouldn't have to.
And then you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda, blame. This is somebody else's fault. Shame. You're all in it anyway. That's that loop. So because you haven't really truly asked yourself, what's the outcome? It's like when you're having an argument with someone that you love. The only end result is, I love you. I just want love. I don't want that. I don't want this.
Well,
you know when you
but
feel.
Hang on, there's pride here, and pride is actually like number 8. We would say it's not numbered 8, but it's actually on a frequency level.
To be higher,
on an energetic log, it's 175.
Okay.
I guess that's hertz. If it's
okay. So where's the anger? If it's under 75.
One step below 150.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the beginning, I guess, it's the start.
And I'm thinking to myself, and then what they also have is predominant emotional state. So
what would that mean?
The predominant emotional state would mean, what state are you usually in when you experience or choose that frequency? So on the frequency of anger, say, your predominant emotional state is hate. And I thought, no, that's not true. That's not true. Listen to my ego, okay? Because she'd be talking sometimes.
I bet she says it's too harsh, isn't it?
That's too harsh. I don't hate my husband. hear the proceeding, hear what was next. I just hate when he, bat, shopping list. Thank God, went to my heart space and she was like, sis, what's the difference? The hate is present. You trying to assign blame on who is feeling the hate or where it is and that you're not feeling it. Yeah, but I don't feel it towards him. You feel it towards his energy. You have brought in the energy of hate. It don't matter where it lands.
Which leads us to the manifestation. We'll get in a minute about also manifesting.
Which is
about
why
the energy you bring in, and that what is really truly used
because,
for.
We can call it predominant emotional state. Yeah. And because we know now that we manifest from the heart space, then if you look at the predominant emotional state that you are in when you're in such of these frequencies, it will let you know what can manifest from each of these frequencies. So then that brought me to say, all right, then sit it back, because we're back to shame and we're back to guilt. Shame, if you're an 80s kid, is how your parents used to discipline you. You know, beating you in public or trying to, expose you about your privacies in front of your friends, or coming down to your school, or whatever extravagant doing too muchness that the 80s had to offer. And that doesn't mean if you were born in any other time you haven't experienced it. I'm just an 80s kid. So we've got shame, predominant emotional state, humiliation.
Yeah.
How much times has humiliation been used as a punishment for children?
Oh, that's when I was a kid. That used to be constant things.
Listen. And you know what? Then there used to be a pride about things not bothering you. Oh, yep, I let it just, run off my back, like water off a duck's back. That was it.
Is the ego just going and be like...
Is it though?
Yeah.
Is it though? Are you a duck though?
What?
Do you have feathers though? All I'm saying is certain type of things hit different, and especially depending on if your age is impressionable age.
Yeah.
Whew.
No, that's true.
Okay. So what were you manifesting as a child if you experienced that constantly?
But do you know what it is? I think the number one things that was very difficult as a child, it's probably difficult for most of us today, growing up, and I'm being an adult now, it's when you go through these emotions, it's not judge them. But we still find it very hard not to do that for ourselves. So if you experience anger and stuff like that, not judge that. Because the truth is, who you are today, you're only a manifestation of what that child has experienced. And now, because that's the whole point, you're not that child anymore. But who you are today and the thing you do, a lot of the things are also what you experience through certain emotions like shame, guilt, stuff like that.
It's the thoughts,
which now
it's the feelings
you
that
are the very manifestation of that.
It's because your mind is still running on in Carter whenever, and you haven't updated it. Because tell me why you're bringing me up things from circa 1998 when we're not there. We're not there. Why are you still on the loop of this?
Well, the trick is to actually use this map in order to
circumvent all of that.
Reroute certain belief system, or get rid of them if they don't serve you.
Yeah, basically. So then we're going to go up the scale. Guilt is blame.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned blame because you was like, oh yeah, blame is on one of them. It's not the name of the level, but it is definitely the predominant emotional state that guilt will bring, as you could imagine. Yeah. Hence why we have a guilty verdict. Because that's who you're blaming for the crime or the event.
But
or whatever it is that people feel is the happening of something.
well, do you know what's funny? Because I was mentioning that not to church, all of these guilty verdict is because you're going through a judgment in the first place.
Yeah.
It would not exist had we not have the judgment. And
No.
that's what, like, it's very sticky because it's what keeps us in these emotions.
And do you know what? That's a whole nother conversation that I would love to have with you.
That we will.
Please in the comment section if you want to tune in for that. That would be great. But, okay. So, apathy is despair. It's when you haven't got a clue what to do. You say, you know what? Fuck it. I don't even know right now. I could not. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I could not. I'm checking out.
And
You've had enough.
You realize usually your mind is don't know what the hell is going on.
Despair.
Your ego is acting like he knows and that's what we're gonna do.
And how much
Yep.
times as a
And then it's
couple
like,
would you say, I'm
literally,
the person who won't argue? That makes
Right.
me a better person than
yeah,
you who's
yeah,
angry.
yeah.
But what I'm going to do is leave. I don't give a fuck. I'm
Yeah.
stepping out. I'm
Yeah.
higher than you are because I don't get angry. Up. See that? Don't care. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Nah, boo. That is number 3.
Yeah. Judgment is a bee.
It's its own conversation. So let's just stick on this map of
No, yeah,
consciousness.
you're right.
And yes, it could.
All right.
It's gonna weave in and out, but let's just
but
one
yeah,
step
yeah, yeah.
at a time,
So-
okay?
so-
it's in relation to what you're gonna manifest based on what it is, what emotional level you're coming in at,
Yeah.
or you're choosing to have. Okay, or whatever you're experiencing, you're choosing to experience.
So
So then, grief is regret.
yeah.
Grief is regret. And it is, and that's what you feel when you're like, oh, shoulda, woulda, coulda, is grief.
Yeah.
Shoulda, woulda, coulda is grief because it's regret.
And you never really moved on. That's what keeps you exactly where you have this grief in the first place, because
Yeah.
you're here getting more of that.
They also have an assigned view of life. So when you're in the state of grief, your predominant emotional state would be then regret, but your view of life would be life is tragic.
Yeah.
And your processing is going to be despondency. Like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yeah. I can see why.
And then that's why you go on that cycle
Yeah.
of shame and guilt and blame and all of that. That keeps you way there. Yeah. Okay. Fear is anxiety. How much of us are just literally walking around anxious? So when we say I've got social anxiety, which I've experienced before, we're saying we have a fear of social, a fear to be social.
Yeah.
It's straight fear.
Yeah.
There's nothing else to say about that. I'm not even going to get into it. The process is to withdraw.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we've got desire. Desire, the predominant one, is craving.
Yeah.
And then it made me think, because when they said desire, I was thinking to myself, yeah, but you could desire your partner, you could, and then there's craving. I was like, yeah, how much times? And I'm saying this as a woman because that's been my life experience this time around. But especially when you're a teenager and your partner is always desiring you and telling you that, they're suffering from blue balls and all of this craving. And I just thought to myself, yeah, you are craving it. And in Jamaica, we tell people, look how craven you are. When someone's craven, it's like they're constantly just desiring something, but on a obsessive state. And I thought, yeah. It's unattractive.
Yeah, it's simply because you're looking for satisfaction outside of yourself constantly.
There we go. But for whatever reason it is, I'm like, yeah, it's not the same as wanting to share something. It's, I need that yesterday.
You know this because often...
Then the view of life, hear
Yeah.
this, disappointing. But it would be.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
nothing can feed your cravings.
No. But it's a refusal. Maybe it's a refusal of experiencing contrast. As contrast come, everything has to be soothed. And there's nothing wrong
Rather
with
than
being
just
soothed,
letting it be.
being experienced. So you comes and you want to soothe yourself because you're
You
like, I
wanna
have to
fix
soothe
it.
myself. I just,
Your mind
so you
wants to fix
you know,
it.
rather than, experience it. See what it is.
Yeah.
Fully.
Yeah.
So you never get to the full experience. You always come with like a soothing method.
Because you're trying to
constantly
stop it from happening.
to numb, to...
Yeah.
That is why people often uses certain things, substances and that, because after a while they need to numb it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
They also have a God view and a process, which I'll talk
Right.
about afterwards. But
Yeah.
if you all had time to read the map of consciousness, now I'm going to blast through them. Anger, hate. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Pride, scorn.
Yeah, I can see why.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's in the way in which we made classes in society is actually
Pride
based
and
off of that
prejudice.
concept. Yes.
Okay. Then we got courage, affirmation. You got neutrality, trust.
Yeah.
You know, the trust it takes to hold a neutral state on something. Now, it's always looked down upon. You're sitting on the fence or whatever, but
You just
you're
trust it'll be
just
okay.
trusting that it's going to be okay
yeah.
is a big step.
It
But
is.
if you can just hold that space, no one's trying to tell you you got to be in joy. But if you could just hold that space for the time being, the trust that it's going to be all right.
Well, do you know what's funny? Because it has a lot to see with the other emotions of craving and the desire.
Yeah.
Because in order for you to being able to be in that neutrality, in that space, it's not to deny this is happening, because it is happening, but you choose to stay in that space of neutrality. So you experience the same thing as someone who chooses to be in the space of desire and craving, because it's the same things you're experiencing. The difference is one
It's like
is
fasting
one's decide
or saying,
I'm
I
gonna
can't,
be
I need my dinner on
I'm gonna let
time.
I'm gonna be neutral. I'm gonna let it happen.
Yeah.
And the other one say, I don't want it to happen. I've got to do some things about it.
About it. Yeah.
And
I
that
got to
is-
do.
Yeah.
Instead, I got to just be.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
Okay. Then, where are we at? Willingness, optimism.
Yeah. I see why.
Optimism. Acceptance, forgiveness.
Yeah.
Reason, understanding. Love, reverence.
Okay.
Joy, serenity.
Yeah.
Peace, bliss. And enlightenment is infallible.
Okay.
Is it infallible?
Ineffable.
Ineffable.
Ineffable. I think it's ineffable.
Listen, I'm going to have to look that up because, listen,
But
no, I'm looking it up. I'm not claiming... She's not claiming she's a dictionary. She's a singer. Okay.
right. Yeah.
Too great or extreme to be expressed or described in words. Ineffable. Oh, that's so good. I didn't know there was a word for that.
Didn't know either.
Like, most people say I love you more than words can say. It's like, okay, fine.
Ineffable.
That's ineffable is a thing. Not to be uttered. The ineffable. The ineffable. Inexpressible. Indescribable.
Yeah.
Okay. I catch that. I like that.
It's a good word. Yeah. Didn't know it existed.
Once you get to that, enlightenment, the view of life is.
Yeah, it just is.
And then I thought about the idea that's been seeping through lately. And you know, that it is what it is. The amount of times I've just said that and just been okay with something, not knowing that for that situation, I had reached an enlightened state. Because I thought, you know, you think enlightenment's Buddha, innit? Like you're thinking,
It's funny.
I'm going to need bells, I'm going to need whistles, I'm going to need some sort of body wrap, and I'm going to need some sort of, at least a holiday in Tibet. I'm going to need all of that. Instead of just being like, I'm a regular person, this is still life be life in, and I just say simply, it is what it is, and I go and do the next best thing, and I keep it pushing.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it several times as well, and eye rolling. I've seen people just like, what?
What? I know.
And I've said things that was
Like the guy in the laundrette, he was like, he looked at the other guy was like, what? Like he thought I was gonna flip, and then the other guy was just like, oh, fair play. You know what? Fair play to you. Like, I guess it is.
It is what it is.
All right, have a good day. Bye.
So, yeah, and you know, and you know what? It's funny
so
because
much more easier
it's
than
because
anything else on that list. And then
if
I
you
thought,
stop judging for a minute, you will realize like it's even when you hear stories that are sad stories, which maybe a young person just have an accident and just end up to pass away as a result, but the accident was kind of their fault per se, if you want to put it that way.
blame.
But I'm just saying he was spinning all the time. When I hear things like this, now I'm just, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's still on some level a choice.
Yeah.
When you do things in this life.
And that's so hard to say, but then it's what's allowed me to also get over grief, because I've had a friend who's passed doing something he loved, and that one thread that pulled me up out of that grief was the idea that he was literally in his bliss
Yeah.
when he passed over. Like, he was doing something he absolutely was in so much joy to do.
Yeah.
Like, there's no blame to assign at this point.
I think what it is the fact that we are assuming when someone says that they're being insensitive to things that happen. I mean, if you do dangerous sports and you know that every time you get on that track, if it's driving or whatever, like speeding, racing, I mean.
Yeah.
And,
like stuntmen
and there's a possibility that, you know,
stunt people.
Yeah, things can happen in that nature. It is sad. No one trying to say it is, you know, this is unfortunate that this has to happen, but at the same time, it is what it is. It's like it's the reality in
as
which
is everything else.
as is everything else in which you're facing.
Yeah.
That's been manifested at this present moment, and nothing else will take that away because it's already happened.
Yeah.
You're already now into a new,
in the aftermath of it.
yeah, you're in the now new timeline already. As soon as this happened,
You're already, yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
It just is.
And that's the thing
And
as well.
that's the
Then
part
I
to
looked,
get
so
in.
I looked at parenting. I thought, oof. But then I started looking at schooling. I started looking at society, culture, religion, and all the beliefs that feed in who we are as personalities and people, families, just family belief systems, you know, social belief systems, and how much of them keep you in that state of survival, the survival paradigm.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. If that these events happen, then this grief, which is in the survival paradigm,
Because
like you say,
everything comes down to, if you don't do
Then-
as we say, we're going to shame you and
Yeah.
guilt you, so that you can be fearful that you will be left alone and life will be tragic, so that you will be in grief.
And the reason why I use that case is funny because...
And regret your choices. And I'm like, wow, when are we going to get to at least courage?
The reason why I use that case is really funny because it's in some situation where speeding is involved and someone might have had a reckless driving style and everyone knows about it, and these events happened. A lot of people may feel like the way I just expressed, saying like, well, it just is. It is what it is. But they're never going to say, because they go through now the fear of even expressing that. And now you see what I mean? As it being closer to what the truth is.
Yeah. But then that would be called autism in some people's mind. Like, wow, you are void of emotion. You're not, because we've been conditioned, we have been programmed to go through. You must, in order to be a good person, you must experience grief.
Yeah.
When you hear tragic things, you must experience fear. When you hear tragic things, you must experience these things. And if you don't, you are void of emotion.
Yeah.
And we've kept our emotions very, very base.
Yeah.
And you're programmed to. And if you don't, you're considered a sociopath. You're not normal. You're delusional.
Yeah.
So it's like, no wonder when people are going through a spiritual awakening, they feel like they can't share it. Because you come out with shit like that, you're cancelled, bro. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, it's true.
What are you talking about?
No one say, and that's the thing, no one say you, because you're, because things are just is in this world we live in. No one say you not compassionate. See, it's an assumption. It's the judgment.
It's the judgment
that
of it.
It stops people seeing things for what they are.
Because you have to do the acting first.
Yeah.
Because if you don't act, you are then cut out.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
What is the thing that you should say? That's why some people aren't comfortable being around people who are grieving, because they're like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, of
Your
course.
grandma was 99 and she died. You are torn up. I get it. But
it's all we signed up for, isn't it?
It is what it is. Like, how long did you expect it to go on for?
But you know what?
And it's like,
when I said
oh gosh, I don't know what to say. And I get that you don't know what to say, because guess what? People would that could your now the whole friendship just swings.
Look, when I even said it, I remember it wasn't about death or anything like this. I remember what it was. It wasn't even that serious, but that's when I realized it was that sometimes it's more comfortable for people, or it appears more comfortable for them to be lied to what the actual truth is, simply because the disconnection between the heart space and the mind, and how truly they feel about things.
Yeah.
Had they were not disconnected, they would have taken it for what it is.
Yeah.
No judgments.
Yeah. And I think no judgment is, again, something that we can try and say, but it's more about in a polarity, like a good or a bad, or a
duality.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rather
polarity.
than not having an opinion. You can still have an opinion about something, but it's about getting your emotions involved into it to the point where you feel you have to be in the throes of something.
It's also assuming
like,
there is
I
no...
feel so bad for you.
Yeah.
And if you don't feel bad for somebody, that makes you bad. And it's like, can I not feel good for them, considering they're feeling they've got the bad covered? Can I not just see the best for them? Can I not start seeing the best outcome for them and something that I can admit they're experiencing as tragedy right now. Like, it doesn't stop you seeing what they're experiencing this as, but at the same time, you know what I mean?
Because I remember.
What are you holding space for?
I remember this channeler, Pinky Channel Source, and I think his name is Elliot. And I remember him saying one things about
Elliot Eli Jackson?
I think it's Eli Jackson,
Sure,
yeah.
we'll
And then he was talking
that.
about how judgment, he was talking first about the feminine energy taking the lead, but they cannot do the same things that the male energy has done so far. And to understand that whatever was done before was done with the knowledge these men had at the time, meaning that if they knew better, because when you know better, when you're aware of better, you do better. That's something you can trust. Most of the time, if people say, no, they know, but they did that, that's because they don't truly know, have the knowing of what's better. Have
because
the knowing.
We're in our mind, we're evidence-based.
Know
There's
what
never
the
been-
mind thinks he knows better.
Yeah.
No.
No,
Consciousness.
For a fact, the consciousness.
You tap in with your consciousness as you know it
Yeah.
to be. That is where you have to understand, and that's what prevents you from judging. Have to understand that judgment doesn't help you, because then you will only do the same things the other way.
Yeah.
And he wasn't saying that, I'm paraphrasing, he wasn't saying that exactly, but he was talking a lot about the judgment side of it, as far as it's important for you to not judge and understand the only reason this is happening.
And when you say, the reason why I didn't really, it's not that I didn't want you to use the word judge, it's because it's so shrouded in this biblical sense.
Yeah, I understood why
and
you said it.
And it just is so heavy, it's a heavy meaning.
Yeah.
Religiously.
Yeah.
It could be taken as a religious, in its religious use of the word.
Yeah.
But no, as in a analyzing, as in a opinion of something.
Yeah. Exactly.
But I feel you. But this map here was like a game changer when it came to just looking at life and saying, okay, so then I get to choose what level I want to come in at if I want a certain outcome.
Yeah.
So when my attempt is to come in at a level of what's the most joyful thing I could do right now?
Yeah.
Or what's the most loving thing I could do right now? Especially when it comes to my parenting skills. Like, even if I get angry about something, instead of guilting the kids, I will come and I'll say, kids, this is how I'm feeling right now, and I know it's not true. I know you guys love me. I know you love me down, but guess what? I don't prefer this and this. What can I do to help you guys, like, leave it a bit more tidier next time, or do this or do that? 9 times out of 10, it settles itself within maybe a week. I'm not repeating myself. Because I've come to realize you're only repeating that which you are not.
Yeah.
That's why it's coming up again and again and again
until
you clear it.
Yeah.
So when I'm angry and I find myself repeating the words of anger all the time, that's because that's not my natural state.
I find neutrality being very useful for me. But one thing I have to do first is to accept that I just don't know everything.
And that you can't, and at the beginning, you're not going to stay neutral on everything.
No.
There's going to be triggers, there's going to be...
That's a part of accepting you don't know everything.
Yeah.
That's a testimony, or you saying, like, because I still get triggered, obviously, because I don't have the solution here. I'd have had the solution, I wouldn't be triggered.
Yeah.
So if you can get into this, like, if you can get just that, and then put you in neutrality, and you being able to let go a little and be like,
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why I was like, my solution is asking myself, what is the most loving thing to do for myself right now? Long term.
Long term, yeah.
Long term. Not right now. Long term from now. So that future Shem says, oh, thanks for that, past Shem. Not, oh my God, what did we do?
Yeah.
And then just work from there.
Yeah.
Work from there.
Yeah.
Because I was like, you've done the latter. Try see what the other one is.
Yeah.
See what it is when you come in at willingness or acceptance. See what that looks like. See what that feels like.
But you know what's funny? Because when we talked about the judgment side, I personally think that the first person not to try not to judge is yourself. In times, maybe you'll be able to stop judging other people, but we know that's easier said than done. But if you can just not judge yourself every single minute that something go wrong, if you could just,
you know, we can have a whole episode on judgment, because this unpicks so many things for me as far as that's concerned. I literally found myself just being like, okay, so you mean to tell me every time we judge someone, we're literally holding ourselves to that same standard?
but that is like at the beginning too much to ask, I've noticed.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I think it's like more when you face the situations and you're trying to blame yourself for because the situation occurs. I'm not enough for this, I'm not enough for that,
You try to take
whatever.
all responsibility.
Yeah, and
Which
I'm
is
talking
another
about
thing.
to make yourself feel better, a bit more in a state of peace, neutrality for that matter. Whereas you say, okay, why am I blaming myself so much? What is it in me that believes that is 100% my responsibility, and I am so-called bad because it happened, or bad? That judgment that constantly can occur and stop you to even move up.
It's the ego again.
Yeah, and if you can settle that,
It's the ego.
and you know, work that out a little, I think that's something that helps. Well, that's what helped me.
My manifestation has changed because literally when you choose to come in at a higher frequency, you manifest more of that frequency.
Yeah, you do. You really
so
do.
your interactions, if you're choosing to come in more willing, your interactions end up being more willing. Your outcomes end up
true. Yeah.
being more of acceptance and all of that. Like you experience that which you come in at. Like, so just out of sheer wanting the next experience to be more this or that, I will come in at that frequency.
Yeah.
Just out of the know, I'm paying it forwards, like energetically just paying it forwards, because I know for a fact that that's what the next thing I'll do to attract. Even if that circumstance seemingly goes another way, I know that within seconds it will be something that's way more.
Yeah.
And it's to acknowledge that shift as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Because life just gets so much more smoother in ways that you're like, oh, once you start sitting in it, you can not, it's so comfortable you don't realize you are doing it, but that's what it is when you pick it apart.
It is. It really is.
It's been an eye-opener. Tell us, is this the first time you're seeing this? How you use it, if you use it at all. As we said, it's just a tool. If it doesn't interest you or bring you any like excitement, then don't bloody use it. But if it's been helpful, let us know in ways it has. And if you're planning on using it, how are you planning on using it? How do you see things? You can discuss in the comment section. As always, happy to co-create with you guys, and we'll catch you on the next one. Ciao.
Ciao.